What's up guys, it's Max here with another woodworking video, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make these mini wavy wooden American flags. Let's get started. Alright guys, so I'm starting out with an 8-foot 2x4 and I'm going to cut 7 pieces at 13.5 inches. Alright, next I got my table saw set to 1 3/4 inches to the middle of the blade. I'm going to go ahead and rip all of these in half. This is actually going to give us enough wood for 2 flags. So if you just want to do just enough for 1, then you're only going to have to rip 4 of these blocks. Alright guys, so next up we're going to go ahead and get our stars ripped. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to running the wood along this bottom edge that we just cut. First I'm going to go ahead and take off just a blade width so that we're starting with a nice flat edge on this side. Once I go through and take off one edge of all of the boards, I'm then going to change my measurement here to 9/16 or just slightly above 9/16. You just don't want to be below 9/16, otherwise the overall flag is going to end up a little too short. So you want to go 9/16 or maybe a 32nd above 9/16, and then I'm going to go ahead and rip out my stripes. So you're going to end up with 2 pieces like this. So we're going to rip off one side of all of them, and then I'm going to adjust it, and then we'll go ahead and rip our stripes. And do be very careful when you're doing this, because obviously we're dealing with pretty short pieces. So, all right, so let's go ahead and get all these ripped. Alright guys, so we got all of our pieces cut. You should end up with 2 extra pieces, so you can just go ahead and swap out any bad pieces with those, or just pick your 2 worst ones to ditch. And next up, I've gotten a few comments of people requesting that I try and stain them before I glue them. Do like the carving and sanding and staining before I glue them together. So I'm actually going to try and do one with that method, and then I'm going to do the other one with the method I've always done, which is glue everything together, sand it, or grind it, sand it, and then I tape off the stripes to stain it. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a try doing it both ways, and I can see how each way goes, and then that way you guys can see how they both go, and you guys can pick which way you want to do. So I'm just going to go ahead, get one of these glued up. I'll just be using this Type Bond number 2 premium wood glue. Glue it up, clamp it up, let that dry. Try and make sure everything is as square and as flat as possible when you clamp those up. And then with the other one, we'll just go ahead and jump straight into the carving on that one. Alright guys, so the glue is drying on my other one, so I got this one here. I just got it clamped up nice and square and flat. The clamps I have a little bit more towards the bottom so that they won't get in the way while we're grinding. I got my angle grinder here. I'm using a Kutzall shaping disc, the extreme coarse one. I'll put a link in the description to their website. If you use the link, you'll get a discount. And I'm going to go ahead and just draw on how I want my waves to be. Alright, so I made a whole bunch of lines because I kept changing it, so I'm just going to try and spread them out evenly, and I'm going to have them go like this. And then I did that on my last one, and I think it actually turned out pretty cool on the end. Another thing I'm going to do is try not to make the union too aggressive with the waves, because that's going to make it really hard to do the stars. So I'm going to try to go a little lighter over there, but over here I'll get a little bit more aggressive with it. So let's go ahead and get to grinding. And make sure you're wearing some eye protection when you're doing this, and I'd also recommend wearing some gloves. Alright guys, so I got my waves pretty close with the grinder. Next I got my orbital sander, and I'm going to start out at 60, then I'm going to go 120, and then I'm going to go 220. And we'll just get these all nice and smooth. Alright, so I finished up doing the carving and sanding on this one, and next I'm going to go ahead and just do my glued one. I won't bore you with the video of that, but I might do a little bit of a different design on that one, just so you guys can see 2 different options. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly get this one done here. What do you think, Gracie? All right, guys, so I got this other one grinded and sanded. And the next thing that I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to go ahead and grind down the backside to meet this front edge right here. And I'm just going to grind it at an angle. And then, except for whatever side is going to be the bottom. So I'm going to have my union up in this upper left-hand corner here, just like that. And I'm actually going to leave this section down here flat. So that way it can stand upright. But I'm going to go ahead and do it to this left side, top, and right side. All right, guys, so I went ahead and got the back of this one all cleaned up, all the glue, and then I went ahead and got my edges carved except for the bottom. So those are looking nice and clean. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and wipe these both down with a wet rag just to get all of the sawdust off of them. All right, so next up I'm going to go ahead and torch these. I just like to do a little bit of a darker torch on the low side of the waves, and then I do just a lighter torch everywhere else, and then usually a little darker around the very edges. All right, something like that. And then I'll go ahead and torch the other one as well. All right, guys, next up on both flags, I'm going to take my stencil here. This is the 4 1/8 by 5 3/4 stencil. I can go ahead and link a kit in the description that includes this. And I'm just going to lay it out in the corner where I want it. And I'm just going to go ahead and mark out on the right side where it's going to be. I'll do that on both flags. All right, guys, so next up we're going to be staining. For my stains, I got Minwax wood finish solid color stain. This is the clear tint base. For the red, I got crimson. For the blue, I got denim blue. And for the white, I just got this pure white or tint base. I'll be using a staining rag. And then for the staining, obviously for this one, we're going to pull it apart, get everything stained separately. I'm just going to use the frog tape for where my union is, so we'll just have to put tape on just those pieces when we're staining between the red and the blue. For this one, I'm going to have to tape everything off. So I'll probably just cut thin strips out of this and use my straight edges for either side of the stripes. Between staining on this piece, I'm going to spray some of the sealer, and then that's going to go ahead and help me tape off to my already stained ones. So let's go ahead and get them stained up. Alright guys, so I just got done spraying the sealer on my unions. One thing to make sure, if you are going to do the stain and then glue, make sure you stain the edges as well, so that if your boards don't line up perfectly, you won't have any raw wood showing. Once this is dry, I'm going to go ahead and clamp and glue this one together as best I can. Alright guys, so I went ahead and gave this one some time to dry. As you can see, I didn't get it exactly perfect, but I got it pretty doggone close. And I just used a wet rag after I tightened my clamps down to wipe any of the glue that came out the face, and that seemed to work pretty good. But now that we got this thing all glued together, I'm going to go ahead and take my grinder to it and get this backside smoothed out just slightly. We only got a little bit of glue on the back. And then I'm going to do all my edges like I did on this other one. Again, leaving the bottom flat. And then I'm going to go ahead and torch the back. And once we're done with that, we'll be ready to move on to the stars. Alright guys, so I went ahead and got that one carved and torched. Next up we're going to do our stars. So I got my stencil here. So I'm just going to tape the stencil in place, trace them out. Then I'll switch to my Dremel. I got a Dremel 3000 with a flex shaft. I got a dust blower on there, and I'll be using a 105 tip to outline the stars and a 106 tip to carve out the middles. And I think these ones are going to be a little bit fun just being so tiny, but we're going to do our best and we'll see how they turn out. Alright guys, so I'm all finished up with those stars. It took me just under 2 hours to do both from start to finish. So it's just under an hour each. Yeah, like I said, with them being so small, it is a little bit tedious, but overall they do turn out really nice and crispy, and it is kind of cool just having that carved out look. One thing to make sure of is that your stencil is oriented in the right position with the points going up, because I've made that mistake of having the points down, and it kind of sucks after you're done and you realize that. So double check that before you do it. And the last thing that we got to do is I'm going to flip it over, seal up the back sides of each, the back and sides and bottom, and then I'll flip it over and I'll just do one more coat over the face. Making sure to get the stars real good, just since those are now exposed wood, and then that way we'll get it all sealed up. Alright guys, so that's it for these ones. Having tried both methods, I think I would still do the glue and then tape, but if you don't want to do any of the taping, this one definitely wasn't that bad, and it really does save you some time without having to tape off all the stripes. Go ahead and let me know which one you guys prefer, and also let me know which style waves you guys prefer. Kind of curious. I think I like this one better, maybe a little bit, but I do really like this style as well. I'll go ahead and link everything that I used down below. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, subscribe for more. I'll put my Instagram down below if you guys build any and you want to send me any pictures. I would love to see them. I'll also go ahead and put a link to how to make the large wavy size flag if you guys want to check that out. Thank you so much for watching, and good luck to you.